Hello, listeners, and welcome to So You Think You Can Rule Persia, where today we won't be continuing with our regularly scheduled Caliphate content, but don't worry, it's coming next week. But we'll be giving you a bit of a taster for what's going on the Patreon, if you would like to join and support us that way. Because we've been mentioning that we have extra episodes, but we've never really put together an example that you can listen to and listed what we have there. So I'm just going to tell you what's here and a sentence per episode, just so you can get a vibe. So today's episode is going to be the first half of the Alcibiades episode, the bisexual disaster man who basically brought the Athenian Golden Age to an end. So if you're interested in how that goes, well, listen on, and if you want to hear how the story ends, join us on Patreon. While instead, let's go through a list of all the people who are not necessarily rulers that we've covered so far. So we do them in a mini-series of 3, so here is how we go. So first is the environment of Mithridates, the Great of Parthia. So there's Tigranes the Great, the greatest king of Armenia, who kept it as an independent power between Rome and Parthia. Mithridates the Great of Pontus, who was one of the last great enemies of Rome, who threatened the Republic and tried to have a united Hellenistic state. Han Wudi, the founder of the Silk Road in the east, and one of the architects of the Golden Age of Han China. Then we have the Athenian trilogy with Themistocles, who managed to repel Xerxes' invasion, Alcibiades, who I mentioned before in today's episode, and Xenophon, who interacted and fought for Cyrus the Younger and was forced to march all the way back through the Achaemenid Empire. Then we have the Maurya trilogy with Chandragupta, the founder of the dynasty at the same time as Alexander the Great, Bindusara, who consolidated the empire, and then Ashoka the Great, who went from a bloodthirsty conqueror to a pacifist spreader of Buddhism in one lifetime. So how did that happen? Then we have religious founders such as Kartir, the extremely influential high priest at the start of the Sassanid Empire, Mani, the founder of the Manichaean religion, Gregory the Illuminator, who spread Christianity to Armenia. And then we have religious travelers such as Dionysius in India, where we wonder, why do so many Hellenistic kings compare themselves to Dionysius? Then we have St. Thomas, who was sold off into slavery by his twin brother Jesus to spread Christianity in India. That's a gospel that we have. Want to hear more? Join. Then we have Alexander of Abenoticus, who was a interesting con man type person who managed to even trick Marcus Aurelius and had this whole cult around a snake god called Glycon. Then we have the enemies of the empire. We have Ptolemy III, who basically almost crushed the Seleucid Empire. Pompey the Great, who, eventually did destroy the Seleucid Empire and reorganized all the East. He's always second fiddle to Caesar, but he deserves his own story. And then Odenathus, who was the founder of the Palmyrene Empire in a way, and is said to have been a great rival of Shapur, so how much truth is there to that? Then we have our last kings, such as Antiochus VII, the last Seleucid who had a chance at retaking Iran, Demetrius II, who was the last Seleucid to own something more than Syria, and Artabanus IV, who was the last Parthian king, who was eventually defeated by the Sassanids, but had some interesting interactions with Caracal in the meantime. And the last complete series is Abu Bakr, the first caliph of Islam. How did that all start? Umar, the second caliph, who expanded the caliphate all the way to destroying the Sassanid Empire and seriously weakening the Roman Empire. And Marwan I, the founder of the Marwanid Umayyad dynasty. And currently we're going through a new mini-series, which is the Tang Dynasty Highlights, where we're looking at Emperor Gaozong, who interacted with the Sassanid exiles at the end of the empire and the beginnings of the caliphate, Wu Zetian, the only woman to ever rule China, and Emperor Xuanzong, who was the emperor at the zenith of the Tang dynasty and was the one who first actually engaged in battles with the caliphate, so we can see how that all played out. But yeah, those are all the episodes that we have right now, and more are always coming. There's one a month constantly. So if you would like to listen to these and have a chance to maybe vote for new series, then please join our Patreon. It supports the podcast and you get a bunch of new episodes. So in the meantime, We hope you enjoy your taster of Alcibiades, and we hope you enjoy your time here.
Hello, everybody, and welcome Beyond the Persian Realm, the Patreon podcast of So You Think You Can Rule Persia. I am Serial, and my pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Umberto, my pronouns are he, him.
Alright, let's get started. Who are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to be covering the man, the legend, Alcibiades.
The bisexual disaster.
Yes, the bisexual disaster man who yeah. I am at a loss for words and how to describe this man, but he's basically hide your wife, hide your husband, hide the city of Athens. Alcibiades is coming.
Oh,
Jesus
no.
Christ. Oh no. So, yes. Get ready to meet him and figure out, is he going to help Athens? Is he going to destroy it? What's going to happen? How bisexual is he going to be? How much of a disaster is he going to be? Well, those are the questions we're striving to answer in today's episode. So I think we can get into a first little recap of how far are we? Because, this mini-series is basically a mini-series on the history of Athens in part, because it does go through the main beats of Athenian history. We'll see it go a little bit further on in Xenophon, which is our next episode, but definitely the first two are very strongly Athenian-centered. So what happened last time with Themistocles is that he saved Athens. Do you remember? He might have told you. He might have mentioned it once or twice that he saved Athens.
It's just another Thursday. By the way, I
Yes.
saved Athens.
Yeah,
I don't know if
pretty
you can
much.
remember that I did that. Hi. Yeah. You might have heard of me through, the really good bread that I make. Also, I saved Athens that one time.
A couple things I do in my free time. So yeah, Themistocles made Athens a naval power. He defeated Xerxes' invasion with the Athenian navy, and by shaming the Spartans into finally helping for once. Come on, Sparta, please. We're all going to die if you don't, so just get out of your own butts and do this. And well, afterwards, after the war, Themistocles created the Delian League, which was essentially a way to continue the war against the Persians, but practically it was an Athenian empire, which slowly developed into something more and more centralized and more powerful. And this is where we can get a bit of a catch-up towards Alcibiades, because Themistocles died in the first half of the 5th century, and now we're getting the second half of the century. So Alcibiades is born 9 years after the death of Themistocles.
Okay. A new era.
And what happened in these 9 years? Well, Athens had created the Delian League, which became more and more powerful because the league originally drew its name from the island of Delos, where the treasury of the league was kept. It was kept in a nice neutral area, so everybody could see that it was being spent for the purpose of the league. Thing is that in 454, the treasury was transferred to Athens, showing that Athens isn't pretending anymore that we're equal.
Yeah, showing
This
that,
is the Athenian
actually,
Empire.
yeah. I like the phrasing, because it's like, we're not even trying anymore. It is what you thought it was. You were right
they're
all
just
along.
saying,
We're
"Oops,
admitting it
you
now.
thought you escaped an empire when the Persians arrived.
Turns
We're
out-
actually the empire. You're under
Yeah.
new management. It's us. Hello." And well, this obscene amount of money and power has Athens itself going through a golden age
Yeah, of
under
course.
the leadership of a man called Pericles.
These Greeks and their names,
Yes,
all of them
it's always
just
there.
similar, yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It's just how the language ends,
Yeah, it's Eicles for the Greeks and Us for the Romans.
Yeah, basically. Well, Pericles was the head of the Athenian Democratic faction and was constantly elected to the post of general, but he did have a massive influence beyond his post because, despite not being formally in charge of everything, he was in charge of everything.
Okay.
Like, if Pericles said you were
Again,
going to do something, you were going
On paper, not really, but when it comes to how it actually works.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's not like people didn't keep voting for him during the Golden Age. He did bring them a Golden Age, and everybody was like, yeah, you're doing a good job. Continue doing that, please. But still, he was hegemonic at the time in Athens. And I'm saying that you're getting a golden age because it is getting all the things that Athens is famous for. So for example, the Parthenon is built under Pericles. He commissions all the beautiful sculptures.
I see.
He commissions the massive temple that still stands to this day. We have all the classical plays, Euripides, Aeschylus, Sophocles, Aristophanes. All these people are making classical Athenian literature. And who else is around? Socrates is teaching in Athens and mostly annoying people on the street by asking them, no, but what is justice really? No, I know you're busy for a meeting, but what is justice really? I need to know right now. And that's what Socrates was about, just annoying people in the market square. But anyway, let's get on to our protagonist, Alcibiades. So, he's born in 450 BC in Athens, and unlike Themistocles, he is extremely privileged and wealthy to start off. He is starting with all the advantages you possibly could have. Because on his father's side, he descends from Spartan nobility, which itself descended from the hero Ajax of the Trojan War.
Sure.
So this is old nobility.
Yeah.
They're very old there. While on his mother's side, well, his mother was the cousin of Pericles, who was in charge of Athens. So Alcibiades is very close to the centers of power as soon as he is born. Alcibiades' father apparently bought his own personal ship to fight with Themistocles at Artemisium, and was apparently, wealthy enough to have that. But he then died in battle when Alcibiades was only 3 years old.
Oh,
so
okay.
Poor baby Alcibiades remains orphan on his father's side. But this allows him to use his family connections to, well, go on his mother's side of the family. Because he needs a strong male figure to raise him into politics. And who better than his mother's cousin Pericles, who is in charge of Athens?
Okay, so, I mean, I assume this wasn't little 3-year-old Alcibiades' decision.
No, Alcibiades was just, his mom presumably said, dear cousin, you're in charge of the city. My son is an orphan of his father. Because you were like, oh,
this allowed him to do this and this, and I'm like, did it now.
Yeah, it's just...
He was a baby!
He was born into privilege, and he has great privilege now. But that means that, if you're being raised by the eternal president who has brought us into the golden age, you're going to do well.
Yes. You have more chances, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if he will make good use of these chances or not.
I mean, yeah, you can still work to f*** it up, right? But
yeah,
we
exactly.
are having a long episode about him, so I assume something happened.
Yes, he either f***s it up spectacularly,
exactly,
or he does very well.
It's either terrible or just, very impressive.
You'll get to judge at the end.
Fun.
But yeah, so Alcibiades, as a young man, starts to show his personality, shows who he is. And what kind of kid do you think Alcibiades is? Do you think he's going to be a little reserved kid? Do you think he's going to be crazily flamboyant? Do you think he's going to be a hard worker? What are your expectations, just based on how he's born?
Probably extroverted, right? And good with people, if he's aiming for a political career.
Yes, Alcibiades is very good with people. He really loves making himself known. He loves having all the attention on him. And something that he discovers very quickly is that he is really, really, really attractive.
Oh, I see.
And he discovers that he can use that and will use that.
Pretty.
Yes. He is the most handsome man in Athens. And everybody knows it, and he knows it.
Damn. Yeah.
So,
it's a good weapon
there we
to
go.
have.
The problem is that as a teenager, this makes him be the kind of teenager that's, always out partying and having fun with his friends and not really taking the fact that he is meant to be a political player seriously.
Sure.
He's not meant to be a political player, but he's meant to become one.
Yeah.
You can't just spend all your time drinking and sleeping around if you want to,
eventually
rise in the political ranks, unless that's the type of political area you're in.
I mean,
It happens. But Pericles then decided that, okay, his cousin, his, second cousin once removed, was getting a bit unruly, so it was time maybe he straightened up and became more straight-laced, more
Funny that.
composed,
Funny
better
that wording.
to get
I like
things
that.
over. It's
Whatever
funny
do you
because it's
mean?
the opposite of what happens to him. Because Alcibiades is assigned to who is the best teacher in Athens at this time? Socrates.
Of course.
Of course.
So they are contemporaries. That's
Yes,
interesting.
is given to Socrates as a pupil,
Right.
in the hopes that this would turn him into an upstanding member of society and teach him rhetoric,
Yeah.
which would,
Don't
make
we
him
all
a
hope
good
this?
public speaker.
Of course.
Yeah. Also, we're apparently told this is by comedians, but presumably when they were doing impressions of Alcibiades, they were doing something relatively accurate.
Yes. Based on truth.
Yes. Alcibiades couldn't pronounce his R's, but would pronounce them as L's.
He has roticism?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
He
That
is,
is
I have a
hilarious.
very good friend in Rome called Bigus Dickus. That sort of thing.
Say Brian. Yeah, Brian.
Brian! Strike him, Centaurian, very roughly.
Okay, we all love this. But yeah. No, I know many people with roticism. As you can imagine, in Spain, the way we pronounce our R's, it is hard even for native speakers. So, there's always an interesting quirk of a character. I enjoy it.
So, he does that. We're also told that during wrestling, he would bite.
I don't think that's allowed.
It's allowed in Greek wrestling.
Is it? Wait,
Yes, it is.
it wasn't against the rules or something?
No, there were people who sharpened their nails to stab people easier. It's not.
Oh, okay.
It's a hardcore sport.
I did not know this about Greek wrestling. Damn.
Yeah, no. Greek wrestling, I think the only thing you couldn't do is poke someone's eyes out or rip their genitals off. And apart from that, it was fine.
Yeah, understandably. Especially since it
But
would
still.
usually be done naked.
Yes, so, you can grab on to most things, but not those.
Wouldn't be fair.
Nah.
Biting people, though, that's fine. Stabbing
Fighting
them,
is fine,
sure.
yeah, it's cool. And we're also told that Alcibiades refused to play the flute.
Okay.
Absolutely refused, and preferred to play the lyre, because he thought that
Fair.
your face looks weird when you're playing the flute and you're blowing, and he didn't like that.
Oh my god. So that was why, because he was too vain and he was like, I look ugly when I play the flute. I don't
Yes,
want
exactly.
To play
He was, I don't want to look ugly, so I'm just going to play the lyre and say, anyway, here's Wonderwall.
the yeah.
Just play that. But no flutes. Those are weird.
What a guy. I am already I have so many opinions.
He is a man of
Yeah.
which to have opinions. To lower your opinion of him, he was
Even
apparently
more.
so vain and he had such a need to be at the center of attention that when he was a kid, when he was a teenager, he cut the tail off his dog just so the Athenians would talk about it
Oh my god.
and they wouldn't accuse him of anything worse.
Oh my god. Okay, so that is horrendous. But
Yes.
what kind of obtuse thinking is this? If, they won't accuse me of anything worse if I do the worst thing now. They will just remember this.
Well, because if you do a corruption scandal, nobody's going to remember, oh yeah, he did the corruption scandal. He's like, do you remember the thing he did to the dog? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the
That's
strategy
his
you want
reasoning.
to
I'm not
go
saying
with.
it worked. It definitely did not work at a certain
You don't
point.
want people
we'll
to
find
talk
out.
about one thing,
But yeah.
do something worse. They'll forget
Yeah,
about the thing you did. I get it,
I guess
but
do something that isn't technically illegal, but is still outrageous. And then people will talk about that more.
I am. But I feel like Tumblr would love him. Problematic.
Oh, yeah.
Meow meow.
He is very problematic, meow meow, indeed.
Yeah.
He would also enjoy wearing lovely purple clothes.
Aren't those reserved to for government things?
Well, Serial, those are reserved for kings or
Yes.
prostitutes.
Right. So which one is it?
Either way, which one is he? Well, a lot of people had opinions.
Huh? I do love purple though, so I get it.
It is a great color, don't get me wrong. But yes, he was dressing either in a weird gender bent way or in dictator chic. Whichever. Whichever you want.
Dictator chic. Sorry. Okay.
So yeah.
Some choices were made, for sure.
Well, yeah, Alcibiades then grew up in the great period of prosperity, but unfortunately it would get interrupted by the start of the Peloponnesian War, where Sparta had been heavily financed and supplied by the Persians, declared war on Athens to reduce their empire and say, hey, no, you weren't meant to make an empire. Stop it. And so Sparta says, no, we want to have an empire. We're going to take it from your cold, dead hands. And that meant that Alcibiades went to war and saw his first battle at 18 years of age, where his life was saved by his teacher Socrates.
Oh, interesting.
Which is quite nice.
I didn't know Socrates was in battle.
Socrates was apparently quite a thick fellow. He could beat a man quite hardily.
Okay.
He was strong. And Plato was a wrestler, so, it's a thing.
I guess whenever we hear about Socrates, like, warfare live, we focus on the philosophy and,
that's just part of it, yeah. It's not the most important part of his work. Also, Alcibiades would return the favor, saving Socrates' life in battle a decade later, so they're close. They're doing well.
Yeah.
And I mentioned they're close because we're told that he and Socrates became lovers at some point, as was often the case between teacher and pupil. It's not something we would approve of in the modern day.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Alcibiades was a teenager, Socrates was in his late 30s.
Also, the power dynamic of a teacher and their pupil, not fair. But yes, this was very common at the time.
Yeah. But continuing into Alcibiades' weird gender-bending / role-bending rules, it turns out that, according to Plato at least, he was the one seducing Socrates, and Socrates was like, are you sure about this? Are you cool? Like, this feels weird. And Alcibiades was like, no, I just really... He was just dressing up and revealing outfits and just going to Socrates drunk and saying, hey, dude, come on. Dude, I'm here. Sleep with me. Sleep with me.
I mean...
And Socrates was like, you had a bit to drink. We'll take you home.
Go home, you're drunk. Yeah, I mean, I guess I still don't know. That could make sense with his personality, but like...
It is told with Alcibiades' personality that he essentially just flipped his romantic roles in everything, in that when he was a young man, he was the dominant partner with other men, and when he was an older man, he would be all fainting and submissive and very flamboyant with his younger lovers.
I see.
Huh. Everybody thought it was weird at the time.
Okay, I see.
Everybody made a point of it.
Right, because like for me, I'm like, yeah, that's that's fine. I don't see the problem with that. But back then, that was like, it wasn't homosexuality that was frowned upon. It was the power dynamic that, like, if it wasn't correct, then people would actually get kind of bothered by.
Yeah, there was a certain order of
this
how
was
things
very
worked,
like...
And Alcibiades decided, no, screw that.
Non-conforming kind of...
Yes.
Interesting.
His gender is in all possible directions. He's doing stuff. And yeah, also continuing on the Socrates thing, in Plato's Symposium, which is a Socratic dialogue about the nature of love, there's a scene where Alcibiades barges into the feast so drunk that he has to be carried by his friends. And he makes a long speech praising Socrates and says, oh, look at Socrates. I love him so much. He won't even sleep with me. Why not? Socrates, please, I love you.
I love you. Woo, please.
I love you, Socrates.
Oh my God. Sorry.
And then he also says the excellent line, now then, gentlemen, you look sober. I can't allow this. You must drink.
I love that. How dare you be sober at this party?
Yes, I'm already drunk. You all need to catch up.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I hope there's some philosophy majors following this podcast who can get a kick out of this.
Yes. But as we mentioned, Alcibiades was courted by many other noble young men of Athens due to his unparalleled beauty. And apparently these young men let themselves be quite mistreated by Alcibiades, who just... he knows he's super attractive. He's just going to abuse his lovers, basically.
Right. He knows he has the upper hand, so to speak. So, not that you should, abuse anybody.
Don't do that. And he stumbled, apparently drunk, into the house of one of his lovers at one point and just took home half the gold and silver plate and just just left.
No.
And then when the lover was asked by his friends, like, are you just going to stand for this? What's going on, my dude? He said, oh no, Alcibiades was so kind and so lovely. He left me at least half of my stuff. Look, isn't he wonderful? Isn't he dreamy?
Oh no. Honey. This is no. This is very bad. This is
toxic
proper
relationships with Alcibiades.
Let's learn about toxic, abusive relationships, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. We're also told that when he became an adult, he took a trip to the city of Abydos, where he learned the ways of lust from the local women.
Sure, because he didn't.
Maybe had a daughter there, because, might as well try. Well, he's only had men so far. He needs to learn the full spectrum.
Right. That is true. I'm glad that he was like, okay, let me swing the other way.
Yeah, he needs to try everything, He doesn't want to just get limited to a certain part of the human rainbow. He needs to try everything. It's great. There is also a lost comedy by Aristophanes called Triphales, which means three phalluses, which covers Alcibiades' love life. Okay. It's unfortunately lost, but it's great.
Oh no, what a shame. I mean, come on,
know,
if your like biography essentially, or love life biography is called Three Phalluses. Who are the three phalluses?
The only bit that we know from this is that we're told that he was born in the year of Philenios, which sounds a lot like the year of the phallus. So that was a fun pun for all the Greeks.
We're having fun with this one.
Yes. And Plutarch tells us that Alcibiades carried a shield on himself, which makes me think a lot of Mark Antony as a character. He had this massive shield with Eros on it with a thunderbolt, just to show everybody who he is and what his deal was.
Right. Yeah, it was not a secret.
No, he's not a subtle man.
He was like,
he does a lot of stuff.
I do what I do. What about it?
Yeah.
You jealous? You want in?
You can try. But Alcibiades did end up marrying a woman because that's kind of what you need. It was for business reasons. She was extremely rich.
Yeah, that was for business reasons then.
Yeah, he marries this woman called Hipparete. Apparently, sometime after punching her father in the face because he felt like it.
That's
and
not
his father
great.
Apparently thought, this is a strapping young man. He should have my daughter. Go forth and have fun.
I don't see how this happened.
I don't know.
This is confusing.
It's unclear. We're told that at the end, Alcibiades did offer to be punished, but then his father-in-law said, oh no, it's fine. Don't worry. It'll be cool.
Again, look how nice he is. He left half of my stuff.
Yes, pretty much. We're also told that his wife really did love Alcibiades.
Well, sure.
But at some point she got exasperated and wanted to divorce him because of the constant infidelities.
Yeah. I figured this would be a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. But Alcibiades stopped her from going to court for the divorce by just physically walking into the agora, basically the Greek forum.
Yes.
And carrying her home, like, bodily, and then they remained married.
That's also not great.
No, not great.
I don't think he was a good person, guys. I think
there may be some hints that he wasn't a good person in all of this. And this is before we get to what he did in politics. This is just his personal life. Oh, also his chariot won the Olympics. Not sure if he was in it, but he definitely owned a chariot that won the Olympics. Make of that what you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now let's go into his political life. He's grown up, he's become a mature, quote-unquote, man, and he is ready to enter politics. And he does that roughly in the second half of the Peloponnesian War. So what happened in recent years is that the war had been fought to a standstill because the Athenians dominated the sea and the Spartans dominated the land, but nobody could really defeat the other in their respective fields.
Yeah, so we're just stuck now, and everyone hates this.
Yeah, so everybody was stuck. And also, there had been a plague in Athens, a terrible plague, which had killed about a quarter of all Athenians. And most importantly, Pericles, who was the leader of the city, the architect of its golden age, he just died of this plague.
Oh no.
So now Athens is left headless, in the middle of a war that nobody can really win. So what happens?
Yeah.
Well, as luck would have it, the more warlike elements of both Sparta and Athens were killed in battle. So the only people left back at home to discuss it were the people who wanted peace.
Right.
So an Athenian man called Nicias managed to conclude a peace with the Spartans, saying, okay, we'll have a break, we'll recover how we need to do.
Nobody wants this, so...
Yeah.
And everyone who did want it is dead, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
And being an absolute diva, Alcibiades was apparently absolutely against this peace.
Because he didn't broker it, or what?
That is exactly true, because the Spartans did not negotiate with him, but with the more experienced Nicias, who was an older politician.
Tough luck, Alcibiades. A skill issue, in my opinion.
Yes. But, anyway, the problem is that this peace still had some gray areas that need to be figured out. So Sparta sent some ambassadors to Athens to try and smooth out these features and understand what's going on. And these ambassadors claim to have the power to negotiate anything, and that, anything goes, we can do whatever. But then Alcibiades met with these ambassadors in private before the negotiations started, and told them to deny that they had all these powers, and that Alcibiades would talk on their side and make sure that they didn't have to give up as much as they would otherwise. So that he would negotiate on their side.
Okay. Sure, if you want to, be a hero.
Yeah, the ambassadors also thought, okay, fine, I guess that's all right.
He wants his chance to, contribute, I guess.
Yeah. So when they went to the Athenian assembly, they said, no, actually, we were kidding last time. We don't have full powers. We only have limited powers to negotiate, so we can't really offer you that much. At that point, Alcibiades stands in the assembly and says, look at these Spartans. They're all liars. I mean, at first they say that they have full powers to negotiate. Now they say they don't. I mean, should we even negotiate with people who are so duplicitous? I don't think so.
Okay, sorry for everyone. I realize you can't see my face, but I literally was open mouth, just incredulity expression. I didn't know what to say.
Yes.
This guy.
This man.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm here for this. This is the kind of drama that I'm yes.
Yeah, it's good drama. It's juicy stuff. And this threw so much of a wrench in the peace deals that Athens ended up financing a third party to attack Sparta, and it got everybody gearing up to war again.
Oh my god.
Because negotiations failed.
God, you're terrible, Alcibiades.
Yes, it gets worse, Serial. It gets worse. This is just vanilla Alcibiades.
Oh god, okay. Enlighten me.
Yes, we then get the incident of the capture of Melos. Because in this Peloponnesian War, there were some people who thought, this is none of my business, I just want to be in my tiny Greek island. It's lovely here, the sea is nice, the weather is excellent.
I have a good life.
Please don't make me fight, yes.
I'm enjoying, not dying. It's great.
Yeah. So, an Athenian fleet arrived at the island of Melos and said, let us dock, we're an Athenian fleet, pay tribute to Athens, and no one will be harmed.
Yeah.
And the Melians said, we're not on the Spartan side. I mean, we're not on your side either, but we're just neutral, guys. We can't let you stay here. Yeah. The Athenian admiral replied, there is no middle ground. The strong do what they can, and the weak suffer what they must.
Wow. That is one of those quotes, huh?
Yes.
And the worst part is that he's right. So
yeah.
At least in this case, the weak don't have to suffer what they must. The weak can rebel and fight, but sometimes that's just not an option.
Yeah.
So, oh dear.
In the end, the island of Melos was sacked. All the men were killed. The women and children were sold into slavery. Something that even the Athenian historian Thucydides thought was a bit too imperialistic even for Athens.
Wow. So even the people on the side of Athens,
even the Athenians thought, ooh, are we the baddies? Is this, that's not great.
Yeah, maybe that makes it look, makes us look a bit, not good.
And guess who voted in favor of this measure?
Of course.
Our old pal Alcibiades.
I mean, he cut the tail off a dog, so.
Yeah. But don't worry, Serial, he also later bought an enslaved woman from Melos, and he had a child from her because he's a good guy. He's just good.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, we love him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Politicians, man.
Yeah. He also represents Athenian imperialism when he convinces a city to move in a more naval direction to become an Athenian ally. Somebody tells the citizens that, well, if you become an Athenian ally, they'll just eat you up.
Yeah. Because there's no such thing under an empire.
Yeah. Alcibiades replies, "We may eat you up, but you will go slowly and feet first. Sparta will swallow you head first and in one gulp."
How is that better?
It's not fun.
I don't think either of the options, if I'm going to be eaten alive, maybe in one gulp is better than slowly and feet first. Suffering considered.
Yeah.
Like, I get the point that he's trying to make, but I don't think it's such a great point.
No, it's not great, and it's just a lot of imperialism going on. It's not fun.
Boy.
And this leads to one of the most famous events of Alcibiades' life, the Sicilian expedition.
Huh.
Because in 415, the Sicilian Greek city of Segesta asked Athens for help against a neighboring city. And so the idea was that there would be a plan for Athens to expand the war by attacking Syracuse, which was a Spartan ally. And once they gain control of all of Sicily, well, then they can easily crush Sparta. So two main groups developed regarding this proposal. There was Nicias, remember the guy who had negotiated the peace earlier?
Yes. The actual older and more experienced and better skilled one.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. He thought, this is a dumb idea. It's really risky, and even if we win, how are we going to keep control of Sicily? We should just maintain the peace that we have and not attack Sparta. Just keep the status quo. We saw before we can't beat each other. Let's not risk all of our navy on this. On the other side was Alcibiades saying, it would be really cool, you guys. Also, can I lead the expedition, please? Come on, it would be awesome. And during the arguments for the war, Nicias claimed that Alcibiades was doing this for personal glory and not for Athens. He said, he is an arrogant man-child. He is not doing this for your good. He's doing this because it would look good on his CV.
Yeah.
And when Alcibiades asked for 60 ships for the expedition, Nicias said, no, that's ridiculous. You need at least 140 ships to succeed. Now, what Nicias had hoped to do with this estimate is to make everybody think, oh no, that's way too many. We don't have that money. That's not worth it. It would be too risky.
And so they would just say no, which would be lovely.
Yes. What actually happened was that everybody said, okay, 140. That sounds good. Let's do that. Approved.
No.
It's like, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh,
I did not think this far.
Yes.
What now?
So everybody voted and said, yep, 140 ships to Alcibiades. Sounds good. Let's go for it. Also, great news, Nicias. You're now in charge of the expedition with Alcibiades. Hope you have fun. Bye.
Hope you two get along.
Yes.
And here's how the sitcom starts.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, Sario. Because, well, first of all, I need to ask you, do you know what a herm is?
Yes, actually.
Can you explain to the audience?
It's a very fun little monument that you find along paths in ancient Greece. You can still find them today, I assume. But the classic ones were a little statue of Hermes' head on a post, like a rectangular, prismatic or
on a column.
On a column. And then also carved on like the middle of the column. So just the head and the and it was used to mark distances and where you were going. Yes. No idea why this is, but I know it was a thing. I find them very funny and amusing.
Well, something wacky happened one day.
Oh, I'm sure. First of all, do you know why this is the shape that the herms have?
It used to be like, like piles of rocks like a cairn.
Yeah. Like it started as this is how we mark where the path is and how far you are from.
It was apparently originally a statue of Pan.
Right, yes.
And the Pan of the Hermes, Pan Hermes, became the god Hermes.
Right.
So, it was just a wild attribute. So, showing you the way, that sort of thing.
Sure. Literally points dick at the place. Sorry.
Yes. Now, one night, shortly before the Sicilian expedition was meant to head off, all of the Hermes in Athens had their faces disfigured, and tragedy of tragedies, their genitals were removed.
Wait, I've heard of this. Someone was really mad that they cut off the dicks of the...
Everybody was really mad, because it's a terrible omen for the expedition, but also an extreme act of sacrilege. Yeah. These are religious statues.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Don't do this. It was also symbolically important for the democracy of Athens because the last tyrant had been killed by 2 male lovers.
Oh, I see.
And this mutilation could be seen as an attack on the democratic man which ruled over Athens, since all the Hermes were similar and would represent the people.
Did people at the time see it this way, or is this how historians then have
I read a paper that was... I'm not sure how much I believe it, but this paper suggests that this fell also within the Athenian view of love, where a dominant lover would have control over submissive beloved.
Yes.
And in this case, it would be, this represents the tyrant having control over the people.
Tyrant as in ruler.
Yes, a non-hereditary monarch. So the idea is that by emasculating these representatives of the Athenian people, somebody was making a move towards tyranny.
I see. Interesting.
Now, do you remember who wore a lot of purple robes?
Oh, yeah,
that made
of course.
Him look like a king.
Of course I do. Our boy.
Well, our buddy Alcibiades was also at the time accused of sleeping with his sister.
Oh.
Which would make him close to tyrannical Eastern kings.
Yeah, right. Because that was look, they do this thing.
So this all suggested a plot against the democracy enacted by Alcibiades, who wanted personal glory above all else.
All of these clues, starting with some gossip and ending with the mutilation of the rock dicks. Yes. Terrible, terrible tragedy in our time. I mean, it was, That is a bit far-fetched, but I guess, if they want to accuse him, they need to find some way to accuse him.
And well, one day, miraculously, witnesses came out and accused Alcibiades. They said, I saw him and his friends drunkenly going out in the night and knocking off all these dicks.
Yeah, wouldn't you know?
Which sounds like a thing he would do, to be fair.
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's why it works.
And apparently he had also made a mock of the Eleusinian mysteries, with Alcibiades acting as a high priest to these mysteries in a sacrilegious way and, drawing great misfortune on Athens. So a trial was organized. But it was argued that Alcibiades should be tried when he returned from Sicily.
Okay.
Alcibiades did not want this. He wanted to be tried immediately and just clear his name, but everybody refused. Because Alcibiades' enemies knew that if Alcibiades is there to defend himself in person, he's just going to charm everybody into forgetting everyone. If he's away, they can dig up more dirt on him, and they can easily get an accusation against him.
I mean, that's very fair, and also very... I don't want to be on Alcibiades' side necessarily, but if you do not let the person who's being tried actually be there and, say anything on their defense, of course it's going to be easier to put people against them if you don't give them a chance to hear the other side, right? So, yeah. Regardless of how charming he is.
So what happens is that Alcibiades and Nicias set sail for the Athenian expedition towards Sicily.
Mm-hmm.
And when he set sail, his enemies in Athens began accusing him of other acts of sacrilege, and even that he was plotting to overthrow the democracy and make himself a tyrant. I mean, look at him.
Yeah.
Look at what he's doing. This ended up with the Athenians sending a ship to arrest Alcibiades in Sicily.
Oh, they didn't even wait or anything.
No. The problem is that Alcibiades heard of this soon. He heard that he had been condemned to death.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially.
That's not great.
So Alcibiades managed to flee, making sure that he was definitely condemned to death if he ever came back, and there was a reward for killing him. Which also is hilarious because it makes Nicias commander of this expedition he thought was a terrible idea in the first place, and he's just now alone in command in Sicily saying, I didn't want this, why? Why? I just want to go home. But where could Alcibiades go, Serial?
Please don't tell me he's going to Sparta, that would be hilarious.
He goes to Sparta.
Oh my god! Of course. Where else could he go? To a different place?
Exactly.
One of the other provinces? Are you mad?
No. He moved to his former enemies and promised to, and I quote, give them aid and service greater than all the harm he had done them as an enemy. Well, there we go. That was the first bit of our episode on Alcibiades. So if you're curious to hear how the story ends, or what happens, why does he do all this, and how do we judge him, well then please join our Patreon and you'll be able to find it all out. You can join for as little as $3 a month, and if you join at higher tiers, you can get a chance to vote in the polls that we have every 3 months, where we can figure out which series we're going to do. We always have 3 of them. There's always new topics being cycled in, so you always have fresh new series that you can look into and find more about the world that is just beyond the horizon of our podcast. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed your time here, and we hope to see you soon, either in the regular episodes or on Patreon. So have a lovely day, and goodbye.